Every 4 years, the Kentucky Department of Education requires each school district to form a local planning committee. This is a group of 20 community members, and they work together to examine all the educational facilities in the district. They take all of their findings and they create the district facilities plan. Another important component of the local planning committee process is that they review the current bonding potential for the district. In 2019, the district's bonding potential was only about $16 million. But then, in the summer of 2020, the total available bonding for our district has increased to over $50 million. That huge increase meant that our district could actually begin looking at real solutions for the needs that our high school facilities have. In January of this year, the Board of Education asked myself and Assistant Superintendent Josh Hunt to form a high school facilities steering committee. There were two options that the committee examined the closest. First, replace both high schools and put gateway services on each campus. And the second option would be to consolidate all high school campuses into one campus. Without understanding the size and success of Gateway Academy, it might be hard to understand why there might be a need for a consolidated school. We actually have almost 1,000 students coming to either of the two Gateway campuses each day. The advantage of having so many students from each high school taking classes at Gateway Academy is that it allows our students access to programs we cannot offer at two separate locations. One major disadvantage of our current model is that students have to be transported by bus from each school throughout the day to come to Gateway for 2 to 3 class periods. All of the transportation results in lost instructional time, and with such a large number of students being transported, there's a larger cost for the district to bus them throughout the day.
So in January, we formed the High School Facilities Steering Committee. We met for the first time in March. We told them both of our schools are over 50 years old. In 2016, HHS's facility rated as a Category 5, which is the lowest rating you can get. CCHS and Gateway's main campuses both were rated as Category 4. So in that first meeting, there were a lot of good questions raised, and by the end of the meeting, we knew in order for us to make the best decision we could, we'd need to know two things. First, we'd need to see a financial comparison between renovating and restoring two campuses versus building one, and the educational benefits of one campus versus two. We found that there would be a 10 to 15% increase in cost if we were to build two facilities instead of one. The biggest cost savings of one consolidated school would be the operational costs. We'd save about $2 million every year with a consolidated school. The overall cost of one school would be about $95 to $100 million, whereas the cost of two schools would be as much as $115 million. At the next meeting, the steering committee was able to hear from McCracken County's assistant superintendent. He was part of the consolidation there, and he became the first principal of the school. After hearing from him, Jessica Addison, director of instruction, presented the educational model we would aim for. Our district would use the College Career Academy model. They would be divided up into 4 to 5 academies of 300 to 400 students with a freshman academy as well. Later in that same meeting, Mr. Benzel shared news that our district had received an additional $33 million in the round 3 of stimulus funding. We could use up to 80% or $26 million of that funding for facilities. So at the end of that meeting, we had a confidential vote among everyone on the steering committee. Of the 34 members who voted, 29 voted in favor of consolidation, 3 voted to remain in the 2-school format, and 2 were undecided.
With the drastic increase in the funds we had available and the direction that the steering committee had clearly taken, the decision was made to gather the local planning committee and discuss the option of changing the district facilities plan to designate HHS, CCHS, and both Gateway campuses as transitional schools. The local planning committee voted unanimously to accept the district facilities plan, and then they presented it to the Board of Education. They voted 5-0 in favor of the plan, making our district schools transitional so that we can continue to evaluating the idea of consolidation.
In a consolidated high school, CCPS would use a career academy model. This is what would allow us to keep the smaller school concept within a larger population. Students would be able to stay in their own academies throughout the day and would still be able to receive all of the core class offerings in these academies. These career academies provide opportunities that many students aren't able to take advantage of currently. The academy model would provide small learning communities for academic and career training. They allow for strong partnerships with higher education, employers, and the community, and they're extremely adaptive as career and educational practices change.
Right now, we're budgeting $100 million for this project. That figure will cover everything from construction costs, land, athletic facilities, technology, safety measures, and everything else. The good news is with the money we already have, including bonding capacity, savings in our general fund, and stimulus money available, and the likelihood that we will qualify for a $10 million career and tech education upgrade grant, the goal of building a consolidated high school is well within our reach. In order for us to take advantage of some of these financial opportunities, we need to move swiftly. Bonding increases can change with interest rates, and the stimulus funding we received must be spent by the fall of 2024. Also, if we opted for 2 new schools, one would likely be completed 8 to 10 years later after the other, and consolidating schools would provide a much higher level of operational efficiency when it comes to maintenance and staffing costs. It's completely understandable that with a change of this size, there will be questions and concerns, and so I want to take a moment to speak to some of the misconceptions we've heard. We've heard it said that the school would have about 2,500 students. KDE would allow the school to be built for 2,500 students, but it will likely only be about 2,100 to 2,200 students based on recent trends and what we've seen with the Virtual Learning Academy. We've also heard people say that class sizes would increase tremendously because of the population of the school. This is completely false. The size of the school does not determine the class size. Class sizes are capped by the Kentucky Department of Education. People have asked if consolidating the schools would result in there being too many students to manage. This is the purpose of the small learning communities that we would call career academies. It is a model that is used in many schools across our state and country. Even with students all being in one large campus, they will feel like they're in a small environment. This is called a school within a school approach. Freshmen would participate in the Freshman Academy to keep them isolated from the rest of the building, allowing them a year to get acquainted to high school life and better understand the academy model. This also pulls about 650 students out of the rest of the population of the school. Some parents are afraid that their child would be forced to choose a career pathway that focuses on getting a job after high school. This is not true at all. All career academies have offerings for all types of students, from those who want to go to a 4-year college, those who want to continue on to a 2-year technical or associate's approach, and those who would like to start work after graduation. We've heard people who believe the decision has already been made to consolidate the school. No. However, based on decisions made by the high school steering committee and the local planning committee, we have decided to focus all of our research, planning, time, and effort on consolidation. Over the next couple of months, our district staff is going to focus their efforts on working to provide the citizens of Christian County a comprehensive look at what a CCPS Consolidated High School would be. The board will be presented the final comprehensive plan, and if the decision is made to move forward, the work will continue. Since we are still early in the process, any timeline we present is obviously subject to change. But as of right now, if the board approves consolidation, we would begin construction in the spring or summer of next year, 2022. And the best case scenario for a new facility being opened is the fall of 2024. As we're sorting out details and wading through projections, I want you all to be rest assured that we're working tirelessly to provide the absolute best environment for our students to thrive. We are fellow parents and fellow citizens of the same community, and what's best for our students is really what's best for all of us. We hope you'll take advantage of the resources and the information we make available so you can stay informed and engaged as we continue in this process.